Hey, good evening, family. This is your boy Tony. This is the 115th take of the year, and I wanted to kind of go back to what I was talking about a little bit yesterday with the whole, what's his name? What is this guy's name? I can't even remember his name right now. Anyway, this guy, Meek Mill, being picked up straight out of jail, being taken by the Sixers owner to the basketball game today. There was just some more weirdness going on. Kanye West tweeted a picture of his "Make America Great Again," the infamous red hat. As you can see there, that infamous red hat, signed by Donald Trump. And then you also had this tweet by Chance the Rapper saying, "Black people don't have to be Democrats." And it's kind of letting off a bit of a, I don't know, a Twitter battle. Some Twitter wars. I think people are really starting to get lost. And what is this concept of free thinking, which is mainly being pushed by what I've seen is black men and rich black men, or black men who have attained a certain level of power and riches. And it just takes me back to this quote. Those who don't remember the past, and I don't know if I'm quoting it right, but those who don't remember the past are doomed to repeat it. And this evening, I have just really started to just like research my butt off. So this won't be a really long article, but this kind of stuff has really got me thinking, because another one of Chance's articles said that the next president will probably be an independent, and I completely agree with that, and I hope that they are. I did not vote for Hillary in the past election, nor that I vote for Donald Trump. I actually voted for Jill Stein in the Green Party because a lot of the Green Party values aligned with my personal values. I can't vote Democrat anymore. I feel like Democrats, there's just too much stuff that resembles slavery, and the Democratic Party to me. They want you to be reliant on them. They want big government. They want you to have to rely on them, which is a lot of, if you really start to research how slavery really had its origins in African culture before the Europeans even came, you would start to understand where slavery came from and why it became so prevalent in the West African nations, and how it decimated the West African nations. So that's kind of the stuff that I've been looking into, and I might just start taking the next week or maybe the next take. I don't know. It depends on what news comes out. Depends on really how I feel. Just to kind of read some of these articles. I mean, one thing I found was from this website, africaw.com, and I'm trying to find other sources to kind of to sync some of this information, but they're basically writing about some of the education that they received about this. And I just wanted to give a few experts about when Europeans first came to West African nations. So I'm just spend a few minutes talking about that. So some of the excerpts are saying things like this: when the white strangers first came to Africa, we, and then in parentheses, my ancestors, were not sure about their intentions. So most communities drove them away. And it says white strangers because that's how they were perceived. They were perceived as white strangers in a black world. And I'm sure the white people saw these Africans and said, these are black strangers. They didn't know what to do. The only real way that they could actually integrate with Africans, talking about the Europeans, they managed to convince some of the traditional rulers that they had not come to cause any harm, but just to preach the good news, the Bible. And I'm drawing, similarities to what happened then to what's happening now. And maybe you are as well, because this is just kind of deep. The white strangers did not understand the local language, and the local people did not understand a word the white strangers were saying. Again, there are some differences. There are divides then, and there are still divides now, where we're just not talking the same language right now at all, in my mind. We're not. Later on, some of the local rulers came up with the idea, and let me back up again. So the white strangers did not understand local language. To help break the language barrier, the white strangers went to local rulers and asked the local rulers to give them some of the local people to train so they could speak the foreign language, which would make communication easier. But none of those local rulers were ready to give their people out to go stay with strangers. And now here's an important part. Some of the local rulers came up with the idea that instead of killing criminals, so criminals that committed crimes such as killing other people or sleeping outside of marriage or stealing, instead of killing those criminals, they could give those criminals to white strangers, to the white strangers, so the white strangers could preach the good news to them, and then so basically the good news, they said they came to preach to those criminals and also train them in the foreign language in order to aid communication, which was better than killing those criminals. So and what seems like an apparent, hey, let's not kill people anymore, let's just send these bad guys to learn the language and to hear this good news, and then they can give the information back to us. It basically empowered those criminals, and it takes me back to this picture. Empowering criminals. It's interesting that the black people that seem to be the most famous, the richest, are the ones that have been given power to sing and rap about societal ills that plague our society today. Again, I talked about it yesterday. Killing people and gangbanging and just the lasciviousness, the drugs and all that stuff. They seem to have the most power, and the record execs and the folks that own the sports franchises are the ones that seem to be propping these folks up. I have yet to see Neil Tyson or Neil deGrasse Tyson, however his name is pronounced, at any sports game. It seems like he has to support himself. It seems like most of the black intellectuals have to support themselves. They're not given a lot of support like you see rappers and things like that. So I just found that kind of interesting. And so basically, and here's the crazy part. The traditional rulers gave those criminals out to the white strangers, and to show appreciation, the white strangers gave gifts of bottles of wine, mirrors, blah, 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 to the traditional rulers. But then here's the really interesting part. Those local people, the criminals, lived and served the white strangers in the castles and forts and learned the foreign languages and enabled them to serve as mediators. And it not only allowed them to serve as mediators, but they were able to use the system to their own advantage. And now this is where I'm thinking Kanye West. Kanye West is about to drop an album. He's about to do a lot of things, and he's just playing mind games right now. He's using his leverage. He's using his connections with people like Trump to basically play us all, in my mind. And then it says, it goes on to say that these criminals were basically able to use their power. If you owed, some of these white strangers money, these criminals were able to call you a criminal. They were able to basically make regular Africans seem like they were the criminals. So you have criminals rising, these true African criminals rising to positions of power and just being able to do whatever they wanted. So again, I don't want to talk too long, but I'm just starting to really read and just learn a little bit more about our history that we weren't taught. I wasn't taught, at least in elementary school. So it says, because only the white man had guns at the time, and they shot anyone the criminals considered criminals. So those criminals were the few Africans who helped the white strangers to get more slaves in the long run. So it's just very interesting, some of the stuff I'm reading. So I just wanted to leave it at that, because again, I feel like we are slowly heading back down a path, and I don't think it's just black people. I think this isn't a race thing. This is a power and a money thing versus the people who don't have power and the people who don't have money, and we are about to be exploited in a crazy way if we don't watch ourselves. If we don't watch the people that we are giving power through social media, who are just completely tainting and destroying our society. Social media has become a platform that is being misused by people who are just posting the dumbest things, the worst things, and we're allowing it to happen. And the people in power are realizing that, and they're going to use that to exploit us on a level that we haven't seen before. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. We'll see where I go with this tomorrow. If I've got more, or if I'm going to, I'm diving in, y'all. I'm really about to dive into this and really start putting things together. We really need to be woke, and these these times, because just as easy as it is for us to communicate with each other, it's even easier for the people that have the money and the power to communicate, and not only to communicate, but to set the policy going forward with how we all will have to live. So that's all I've got for today. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to end it at that. This is a longer message than I thought it was going to be, but I just had to get that off my mind. So that's all I got, y'all. Peace out. Bye.